Hi, welcome to Devlog number 3. I'm Katla, and I like to make games. Since last time I've been fairly productive, but unfortunately most of it has been done without recording it. And there's a reason for that. You see, since last time I got very ill, like super ill, and not even in the hip-hop kind of way. I had a very sore throat, headaches, and a stuffy nose for almost 2 weeks. I'm not gonna say what I think it is, but I think we can all make an educated guess at this point. Anyways, what have I done since last time? First off, I removed the ugly circles that I had for showing the blast radius and replaced it with a custom explosion effect. For this, I used the Unity particle system and some custom sprites to make it look decent. I did follow a tutorial for this, which will be linked in the video description. Then, I continued making art, because it was pretty much the only thing I could muster while being sick. I watched some videos of Adam C. Yunis, a really awesome guy here on YouTube who makes some really great videos about pixel art. And while watching one of his videos where he makes a cool parallax beach scene, I played along and made my own. But instead of a beach, mine was a hills area. I ended up with something like this. It's very simple at the moment, but I have some ideas for how to make it better, but I won't focus too much more on the art style at the moment. I am, however, thinking about the style of the game and how I want to project my idea, but I have not reached any kind of conclusion on that yet, so I will keep you in the dark for a little while longer. Sorry. But you do get to see some results anyways, so that's something at least. I did notice that the trail for the player was really buggy at the moment, so that had to go. But I will probably implement something similar in the future, but that will have to wait. At this point, I was feeling a bit lost. I didn't really know what I wanted to implement next, mainly because I had so many different ideas about what to actually work on. The software engineer side of me took over, slapped me a couple of times, stared at me, and said, "Organize your stuff, man." After being startled for a while, I realized that he was right. I've worked as a software engineer now for 2 years. Wait, it's been 2 years? Every single team that I interacted with, including my own, had a sprint board or a Kanban board, and used that to organize what they were working on at the time. And I remembered that there are 3 tools that literally is the same thing. So I made a Trello board for my game. The general idea here is that I can use this board to create tasks for myself, move things around as I see fit, show what I'm currently working on, and so on. Now, this is obviously not an ultimate solution, as it still requires that I follow the board and use it for its intended purpose. But I believe that this is a step in the right direction. I probably won't show this board too much, but I will try to follow it as much as I can. Next up on the schedule was to add some pickups. So let's have a probably too long conversation about pickups, power-ups, and collectibles. Woo! So, what do I want for the game? Well, I want some general pickups, and this will be pretty much like a currency system, although I do not intend to add any shops at the moment, so maybe we can call it more of a collectible, but not in the sense of gotta catch them all or anything. My idea is that for every level or scene, there will be a set number of these to be collected by the player. When the player have collected all of the items, they should have explored all the areas of that particular level. I don't really want there to be a reason to collect these, other than it being a number that increases. Why? Because I actually want some real collectibles for the game. So let's talk about collectibles. I like collectibles. I like being challenged to find collectibles, partly because I like adventuring. These collectibles will be harder to find and will probably only be reached by secrets, puzzles, or some kind of mini-boss or something. I don't have a clear scope for these yet, but I have a brief idea, which I will develop further as the project progresses. But you can bet it has to do with coffee. So, now let's talk a bit about power-ups. I like the idea of power-ups, but I don't want them to be too overpowered. If anything, I want them to add some quality of life and give you access to areas that are more related to finding secrets rather than impacting whether or not you can finish the game. I want the game to be playable and finishable even without these power-ups. What I want the power-ups to be is a tool to make the game a bit easier to handle. An example of this would be to add another bullet to your gun, which would allow you to shoot 2 bullets before reloading instead of the default, which is 1. Would that be game breaking? No, because you're still limited to shooting walls and enemies. But this may allow for some new movement patterns that was not available before, which could make it possible to get to new areas and such. Phew, quite a lot of talking there. So, I went right back to work to implement the general pickups. I like the idea of breadcrumbs, like the story about Hansel and Gretel, where they use breadcrumbs to make a path for themselves to find their way back home. But I think a better approach in a game is to have the reverse, to lead the player forwards. Whether it will lead you towards finishing the game, towards secrets and cool areas doesn't really matter. I just really like collecting stuff. So I started by just creating an empty game object, gave it a sprite and a collider, made it so that when the player collides with the item it gets destroyed and updates the UI to show that you have collected that item. It's a bit of a crude system at the moment, but it works. I do think that this is enough for this video. There's been a lot of talking, but I have made some progress as well. The game is coming along and I really enjoy the process. Making small changes here and there whenever I have the time and energy is really making this feel like a fun project for me. I have been thinking about live streaming some game dev over Twitch. The only problem is that I don't know when I will be able to stream or for how long, which makes it hard to have a schedule. It would maybe affect the devlogs in the way that there would be some clips and stuff from the streams, but I don't think that would be too much of an issue. It might also affect the time I have for editing, which would result in fewer devlogs. But I could do some editing on stream as well, who knows? If you have any ideas or input about this, leave them in the comments down below. If you want information about if I will be streaming or not, head over to my Twitter and give me a follow. I make brief updates about what's going on over there. But I think that's it for now. Bye bye!